And so, on some stats, A-REECE's Paradise 2 has proven to be A-REECE's most successful project by far when measuring debit metrics and the impact of the project on A-REECE's statistical standing, including potential insights on just how powerful his fan base may be, and of course, how A-REECE may have gotten his league back on his opposition. So, when it comes to the actual streams, the album became the #1 Ante Mortem hip-hop album of 2023 in terms of 24-hour debit metrics, with over 1 million streams in 24 hours on Spotify, and the second Ante Mortem hip-hop album of 2023 in terms of first week streams after Nasty C's I Love It Here, and the third overall after AKA and Nasty C's projects. The project also had an impressive debut on Apple Music, with his songs breaking into at least 27 charts on the 21st of October, with his song The Run leading the pack with 13 charts and a tie between One Time featuring Blackie and West African Time featuring Manifest. The project also became A-REECE's first album to chart in the UAE, spending 2 days and peaking at 142, also becoming his first project to chart in Sweden for 2 days. Although A-REECE has made it there before with Joey Fatty's project's features. The project was his first to chart in the United Kingdom, spending at least 4 days on the charts and peaking at number 114. And although his songs have made it onto Denmark charts, this was his first solo project there after debuting with the Joey Fatty feature. And he also made his first entry into Lithuania, the second to chart in India after his projects And I'm Only 21, and the second to chart in Poland after his Deadlines projects, and it spent 7 days. A-REECE also reached over 70 million total streams on Spotify, and for the first time ever, A-REECE was the most streamed South African urban rapper on Spotify for the past few days, reaching over 9 million streams, as that position is usually held by Nasty C regardless of who drops and when they dropped, so much so that Nasty C's DJ Audio Mark, although without mentioning names, once shaded A-REECE over the fact that Nasty C's song Jack, which is now Nasty C's biggest solo song, had more streams than A-REECE's entire project, being Today's Tragedy, Tomorrow's Memory, and Jack was just one song versus a 13-song project. And perhaps quite impressively, A-REECE's streams per listener jumped to over 27, which means that on average, his listeners play him at least 27 times, which is one of the highest in the world. And this explains a lot, as there's been recent questions about the legitimacy of A-REECE's streams, because on average, you would need to have a lot more followers than A-REECE does in order to get the kind of numbers that he received. But somehow, A-REECE seems to have proven that you may not need that many followers overall in order to get significant results. And he seems to have achieved more in 24 hours than many rappers with a lot more followers than him. Although over the stretch of a week, of course, he had to yield to rappers who had significant numbers. And just for the sake of perspective, Blackie has over 600,000 monthly listeners, which is more than A-REECE. But his streams per listener is only at 4, maybe 5. So technically, if Blackie wanted to achieve the same numbers as A-REECE, he would need to have a lot more listeners in order to achieve those numbers. Whereas internationally, guys like Travis Scott have 11, Drake sits at around 19, Jay-Z has a 7, which technically means that you would need to be Taylor Swift and have the kind of fan base that she has in order to achieve A-REECE's kind of numbers per listener. But A-REECE peaked at more streams than Taylor Swift still, which explains how an artist with a relatively small fan base can have such numbers on a project. And he still isn't the biggest by fan base, but his fan base can compete with just about any fan base. When you look into these followers, you'll find that a lot of them are here in South Africa, as his international fan base is just almost non-existent, although it is the highest it has ever been. But you tell me what you think about this. Did you expect A-REECE to have such results? And do you think A-REECE has some of the best fan bases in the world? What is your definition of a big debut? Is it having a lot of people having heard the project, even though they didn't replay it as much? Or is it still fine if it is just relatively not as many people who played over and over again on a loop? Both ways are still fine. Do let me know what you think about this. Comment down below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up.